Look how strong I am. I'm doing it with one hand and my neck vein is not popping at all. I found it. This is the one. This is the one. He can't do it. He's just too heavy. And I wish I was this cool. Why can't I be this cool? Yeah, I found another one. Oh guys, I think I broke him. There is no coming back from this one.
We are on the way to the gym right now. I was asked by one of my subscribers if I could do a bodybuilder versus calisthenics challenge when it comes to push-ups, and today is the day. I found the perfect person to do it with me. You've seen them before on our bodybuilding to calisthenics pull-up challenge. It seems something is happening here in the background. I'm not sure what it is. Anyway, I'll see you in a couple of seconds at the gym. I hope you are ready. This is going to be an insane video.
Now, to get started, and as a warm-up, it was pretty practical to start with the easiest variations we both know and work our way up, which is why we started with the assisted push-up and scapular push-ups both on our hands and on our elbows. Now, keep in mind, for the rules, we both have to do at least one complete repetition of the push-up variation, which means full range of motion, or as much range of motion as we can muster for a full point. So variation number 2, scapular pull-ups on our hands, adduction and abduction in your shoulder blades, and then number 3, scapular push-ups on our elbows. Now we're still in very much easy beginner territory here, and we're just feeling our way into the challenge and trying to mobilize as many muscles as possible and warm up a little bit. Which moves us to our first classical push-up, and what most people would already consider to be an acceptable challenge. Here we focused on wide stance pectoral, then we went a little bit more narrow for triceps dominant push-ups, which we both mastered perfectly, as you can see, and then we moved on to diamond push-ups, which are a little bit more narrow even and a little bit more triceps dominant. I would say we're still pretty much moving in the beginner territory here, because nothing we have done so far was too much of a hassle. So we added some extra coordination and extra core stability by using shoulder tap push-ups, and afterwards moving forward to Superman push-ups. Basically a push-up and straightening one arm, moving back and repeating the whole process on the other side. So far so good, no one is struggling, everyone is having a good time, and it seems that this is going to be a hard one because we have a lot of variations to go through. Which moved us to the first intermittent variation, the archer push-ups, where you move laterally from the top down to one side and see that one arm is fully extended. And here we already have the tiniest struggle for him, because maybe it's his range of motion thing. I think it was that he placed his hands pointing forward instead of outwards, which made it a little bit harder to move. But this time with the typewriter, he kept that in mind, and we're moving laterally at the lowest point of the push-up when it comes to typewriter push-ups. So you move down in the middle and then you move from one side to the other. Full range of motion here is not that much, and back up into a starting position. Which moved us on to more explosive exercises with the classic jumping push-up, just a tiny jump. Afterwards we had the staggered jumping push-up. So jump, stagger your hand placement, jump again, stagger it into the other direction, and then we have a chest tap jumping push-up, which it's in the name, I don't have to explain much of that. Now we're getting into the somewhat more advanced territory. So next up is the clapping push-up. Again, no one is struggling with anything here, we're enjoying ourselves a lot. Now we're getting to the Hindu push-up, and if you look very closely with this one, you can see that his face is almost ready to explode with redness because he seemingly forgot to breathe, which happens to a lot of people when they are working on exercises they don't do often. So keep that in mind, always breathe when you do an exercise. I can't believe I have to say this out loud. Here we go, one more Hindu push-up from myself and return into the downward dog position. Next up, we have the tiger bend push-up, which is basically a classic push-up, but at the lowest point of the movement, bring your elbows down and back up again. The lalini, I have no idea how to say that word. Push-up, which is starting from the bottom and moving upwards into a push-up or plank, extended plank position. It's harder than I expected it to be, but we were both able to push out a couple of repetitions. Now we're moving to somewhat harder exercises, so safety first. Always try to keep yourself safe whenever you do an exercise. Testing it out first, and then we want to clap behind our backs with the push-up. I would say half a point to half a point to Clemens here for doing this exercise properly. Here we got a T-jump push-up, as I would call it, because I have no idea what it's called. And then we have a semi-wall assisted pull-up, which I found to be a little bit harder than expected, but very interesting. I'll be doing them again. And I found another one that he would struggle with, which is keeping your feet on the wall and doing push-ups from there. You can see his feet slowly moving down because we didn't have too much hold on the wall. Still, it was pretty fun. Now we're using the bozo ball to add some core stability requirements. First with classic push-ups, pretty easy, nothing to worry about here, nothing too complex. But you do need to keep your core tightened and you need to keep your legs flexed too. And then we tried with the ball to do some jumping push-ups, which we thought would need a little bit more safety precautions, so we let that go for a while. Just a little try here just to make sure that he's not better than myself. And now this one was fun because I was sure I had him with this one, and I am pretty sure that I would have had him with this one if I didn't help him out like the idiot I am, because he was apparently too heavy. Too much muscle mass, simply, to do this move without me helping by standing on the other side and holding on to the dip bar or the dip contraption we are using here. I found that funny. He gets an extra point for this one, so we're pretty much on the same page again, especially because this needs a lot of shoulder mobility, and just look at that. Amazing. Simply amazing. And I think he broke his back with this one. Now, additionally to the ball, we wanted to increase range of motion, which wasn't that possible because the dip contraption wasn't wide enough either for his shoulders or for my shoulders too, which made me a little bit more proud than I should be. Yes, I have broad shoulders. I think people aspire to be like that, so hopefully this is very motivating for you and you want to be as wide-shouldered as I am. Moving on to the one-handed push-up, which seems to be one of his specialities because he started pumping out reps like there was no tomorrow, left side, right side, and I told him, yo, you need to slow down, we have a lot of variations to go, but no, not for him. So I jumped in there from the other side and did the same thing, went for a couple of one-handed repetitions, and while he worked more on the triceps dominant ones, I had my elbow flared outwards, which means that I had more pectoral dominant one-handed push-ups. Moving on, you can see the safety here again. For the handstand push-up, we were both a little bit tilted to the side, so we had to have someone helping us with straightening out. Totally acceptable. Still, we did a couple of reps. The problem here is we had to go wide-handed or had to have a pretty wide grip for this one, and that means that our range of motion was compromised. And at the thought of doing those on, for instance, dumbbells, like holding dumbbells so we had more range of motion, he was horrified that I would even suggest such a thing because we could break our necks, and he's pretty much right. Now here we have some classic triceps extension. Nothing special here, nothing too hard, but still one that we forgot to put at the beginning, so we do it now. We're back to explosivity, shoulder touch, and up with both legs, which looks pretty funny, especially if you play it in half the speed. And then we had the extension jump, which was easier for me than it was for him, but still he gets full credits for doing it. Yeah. So I grabbed the squat rack, looked for something that has insane range of motion and some deltoid addition, as well as scapular and trapezius muscular adduction and abduction, and I thought I had him. That is it. Now, he is definitely not going to be able to do it because, first of all, he's also almost too broad for the squat rack, which is, I mean, come on, how big do you have to be? But he did have the shoulder mobility to go down, and he even was strong enough to go for a second repetition, and nah, I'm just kidding. He went for a second repetition and that was it. He's dead. It's over. I think I broke him. There's no coming back from this one. But at least he didn't rip his pecs, his impeccable pecs. And now we move on to weighted, and since we only had 20 kilo dumbbells and 20 kilos is nothing, we had to ask for some help from one of our trainer colleagues, which was pretty nice. 52 kilos, I think, something like that. That is an acceptable weight to push up, not just once, but twice. And his leg raising and shaking had me dying laughing. It was so funny to me, I have no idea why. So I went in for the same thing, my range of motion was impeded, and look at this, it happened to me too. Apparently this is an automatic thing that happens when you're straining too much in a push-up. Your leg just goes shaking like the leg of a dog when he's taking a piss. Anyway, so I went for the same one, my range of motion was insanely impeded, and I only did a half rep, so half a point. Now we had a little bit more fun with doing some partner push-ups here. This is a fun one. I would recommend people, if you have someone to train with, to try them out. These were also pretty fun to do, especially what was very interesting, due to the difference in weight, which is like 22-23 kilograms of muscle mass between the two of us doing this partner push-up thing. It was pretty funny because the weight distribution was all over the goddamn place, but it was still fun, and we did push out a couple of reps, and you saw it. We did dozens of variations. We both did all of them. Maybe the ones where we were weighted down, I struggled a lot, which makes sense because I work with body weight more and he works a lot more with weighted stuff. And then at the very end, he showed me a couple of, let's call it, posing techniques, because I don't know how to pose, and neither does he, but yeah, it was still a lot of fun. What's also pretty interesting is that both of our physiques are very much similar when it comes to muscle belly insertions, the length of the muscle. The only difference that I can see really is, except for a couple of small differences, is the mass. That, like, we have a very similar structure except for the difference in mass, which is, I think, 20 to 22 kilograms or 45 to 50 pounds of muscle, which is a lot, I know. But when it comes to push-up, challenging push-ups, you can see he was just as good as I was. And here we have a couple of bloopers. We did have a couple of failures in between and a couple of tries from stuff that we've seen that we wanted to try out but didn't make it into the video. So if you liked the video, subscribe, and I'll see y'all tomorrow because we have new videos every day. Captain Cairo, peace out.